When you try to save money, it can sometimes be hard to figure out where to cut back and where to not cut back. The average person spends the most money on 3 categories, and that is food, housing, and transportation. So in today's video, we're gonna go over how you can save more money on transportation. Hi, I'm Mark and welcome to Money with Mark. This is my personal finance show all about making you financially independent and becoming wealthy for life. Now, I want to start this video off here, and no, not at the Halifax Wave, but here at my car. So obviously cars are a fantastic way to get around transportation wise. You have roof racks here that I put my bike on, I put my surfboard on. You can travel with friends on it. You can put equipment on the top. You can put equipment in the trunk. Cars have a lot of purpose and utility for us. Now, don't get me wrong, I love cars and the wide variety of things that you can do with them. They're super fast, they get you anywhere in a split second. You can put your bags, mountain bikes, skis, whatever in there and go have awesome adventures with people. However, about 90% of the driving that actually happens is one person not utilizing all of the functions of a car and just driving to work. And I'm serious, go around when you're driving next time, check out the other people in the car. Most of the time, it's just one other person. And now there's a few downsides to cars. Obviously, cars cost a lot of money up front, and a lot of people actually have to get loans out for these cars. And we also know that cars, the value of it, decreases a lot once you drive it off of the lot. So if you buy a car for $30,000, when you drive it off the lot, it's pretty much worth $20,000, maybe even less instantly. And then it makes you really scratch your head when you realize that people got a loan for the amount that the car was worth, but then when they drive it off the lot, they still have to pay for the loan that it was worth, even though it's not actually worth that much anymore. So that makes you think and pause for a little bit. Plus there's things like gas, insurance, and repairs that really add up. And not to mention, driving is the most dangerous activity that you will ever do in your life. Statistically speaking, most people that die will die from, I believe, heart attacks or like cardiovascular. I think that's what the heart area is called. I'm not too sure. I'm not a doctor. But heart things is the leading cause of death, and I think car accidents is the second leading cause of death. So statistically speaking, we're most likely to die in a car crash, not by a shark attack, not by robbers, not by people coming into your house to kill you. It's driving. And personally, I've seen 2 of my close friends die from car accidents, and it's definitely not the best feeling by far. So it definitely has its downsides. Plus, you don't get any activity when you're driving in a car, and it's polluting the environment in a lot of different ways, from everything from the building of the actual car to the gas that it consumes. But it still serves a purpose. Most people have a car unless you live in a big city and don't get out of the city very much. However, it is usually the second biggest expense for people right behind housing. So because this expense of having a car is so big, I think it's important that we actually just take a second to really think about when we need to use a car and if we need to use a car. Because not using a car might just save you quite a lot of money. And you still have a lot of alternatives as well. There's car rentals now, there's Ubers, there's the apps like Turo, there's car share programs. Owning a car is probably the most expensive activity that you and I will ever do. So if we want to reduce some of our costs here, let's look at some of the other ways we can get around transportation-wise that could save us some money. While walking's an obvious answer to cheap ways to move place to place, it doesn't get you very far and it can take a long time. And if you're anything like me, you don't like walking very much. So what is better is this. And that's this, biking. Now, for those of you that know me, you know that I love to bike, and I think biking is one of the best ways to get around your city or wherever you live. It's really fast. The parking is fantastic because you get to park right in front of wherever you're going, and it's free. Plus, on top of that, it's a great way to get a little bit of exercise in without, having to break a sweat walking for an hour and a half. And a lot of times, biking can actually end up being faster than driving. Plus, you don't have to pay for gas, you don't have to pay for parking. It's really a great alternative to get around in your city. And probably my favorite part about biking is that I go slow enough that I can actually like scout out and go down different roads and find different little new coffee shops, or to find little businesses or restaurants and just pop in really quick. Because you don't have those same restrictions as driving, so you avoid traffic, you don't have to pay for gas, you don't have to find parking or pay for it, biking can actually be a really great alternative for easy and affordable transportation. I really can't tell you enough good things about biking. I absolutely love my bike. I only spent about $1,000, actually less than that, maybe about $800 on this bike. And you buy a lock and that's all you need. And plus, just the feeling of freedom, being able to go anywhere on sidewalks, down trails, on the road. It's a really awesome feeling, and trust me, I really want to convince everyone to get a bike and to use their bike as much as possible. But there are a couple downsides, you know. You might have to deal with cars sometimes, which isn't really great, you know. People are scared about getting doored, or people are scared about breathing in the fumes is sometimes not great, and drivers can be a bit of a sometimes. And I know a lot of people don't want to break a sweat, or maybe you want to wear a skirt, so you can't really bike with a skirt on. And that's okay, because this last method of transportation is my personal favorite, and it's quite new, and I think you're gonna absolutely love it. And that is this. Okay, so I'm just about to show you what my favorite mode of transportation is. It's actually sitting right off screen here. But before I do, make sure you hit the like button and give this video a thumbs up, because it would really help me with the YouTube algorithm, and it will help me spread this video to more people and help others save money as well as you. And that's these things here. These are probably my favorite way to get around. Now, while I used to be the biggest fan of bikes, and bikes are awesome and they're free and they're very affordable, e-bikes and e-scooters and boosted boards have really quickly became my favorite way to get around as far as transportation goes. They're relatively cheap to buy, they run on electricity, which can be pretty cheap, and they're extremely fun. And e-scooters are really fast, which is awesome. Now, there are quite a few drawbacks that come with things like e-scooters and e-bicycles and boosted boards. If you go out of range, then if you've used up all your juice, then you're pretty much left on your own, and you'll either have to push it or pedal it back to wherever you need to go. And sometimes price range just doesn't make sense for people. And some cities might outlaw them, not allow them to have good parking. But if you're wearing a skirt and you can't really ride a bike, well, you actually could ride an e-scooter. So let's recap what we've gone over in this video. To start off with cars, if you can get away without buying a car, then that is your best choice. Don't buy a car and look for some alternative modes of transportation, because you are just gonna save a ton of money by not owning a car. If you do already own a car, well, maybe you can look at selling it. But if you don't want to do that because you do awesome things like go camping with it and go surfing with it and go biking, then in that case, try driving your car as little as possible and only using it for those very specific adventures. Try to avoid the temptation of just driving to the grocery store when you can take your e-scooter or your bike. Or when you're going around to meet up with friends downtown, take your bike or your e-scooter instead of a car. The parking's amazing, you get outdoors, and you get a little bit healthier because, you know, you're doing a slightly moderate activity. And my last tip is, if you can afford an e-scooter or a boosted board or an e-bike, I highly recommend getting one of those over top of a bike. Even though biking used to be my favorite way to get around, e-scooters are definitely the best because you can go on grass, you can go on the roads, you can go up hills, down hills, but sometimes with a guy my size, the uphills don't really work as well as you want them to, which is another kind of downside of e-scooters. But if you take one thing away from this video, I want it to be this. Try to drive as little as possible because driving is extremely expensive and very dangerous. So I'm Mark, and this is Money with Mark. So please subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'm pretty sure it is in this corner here. Hit that button. Maybe it's a circle right here. Please hit that, subscribe to my channel for more information on personal finances, how to save, and just how to become wealthier in general. And if you have any personal finance questions, or if you have any video recommendations on what you'd like to see me do, please let me know in the comments of this video. I respond to every comment, so I will definitely get back to you and answer your questions that you have. That's it for me. I hope you guys enjoyed this video on how to save money, and let me know what your favorite mode of transportation is. Is it an e-bike? Is it a scooter? Let me know in the comments, and I will see you next week. Peace out.